Morning, everybody. Hey, welcome to a Wednesday edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, the comedian known. I'm your host. I almost call myself a comedian. You know what? I'm gonna be a comedian today. I'm comedian Frank Holder. How y'all doing? That's comedian known as Stick. That's comedian known as Talent. You guys have been in the comedy game for a long time, from comedy film festivals, Def Comedy Jam, comedy shows, comedy commercials. They even did comedy churches. Church, you know how you do that church comedy. They even did all that, everything. Tell me y'all did all that too. Y'all.
It's true.
Yeah, that's where I started.
You're trying to figure out how to do comedy without cussing. It must be a job all by itself, boy.
Not for me.
Notice Talent, how Talent didn't say nothing.
No, because listen, real life is cussing. You should see the survey. They did a 40-year study on cursing. It exemplifies like honesty, truth, and pain. Like we take more pain because we let it out in cursing.
You know what's funny?
I'll tell you like this. I was saying back in the day when I started, you couldn't do television if you couldn't do comedy without cursing. You know, before Def Jam, BET, all that. If you couldn't do comedy without cursing, you couldn't perform on TV.
Some people have a art with cussing too. They could even do a whole story using the MF word and mean different meanings. Like I saw that joke, I thought it was very true. Let's get ready to jump into the show. The COVID report is kind of sad today because I want to just say that NBA analyst by the name of Sekou Smith, he passed away from COVID at the age of 48. You know what I mean? And I used to watch his reports and stuff all the time and read his articles and stuff all the time. So that kind of hit home for me. I was like, wow. And he's only 58 years old.
I know Sekou. Oh my God.
Oh, you know Sekou Smith? Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm sorry to tell you that. I thought you knew. But yeah, he passed away at 48 from COVID. And then San Antonio and New Orleans game got postponed. And the Bulls-Grizzlies game got postponed because of the people not being able to have enough players to be able to hand on the court. So, there's that. But I wanted to be able to jump in and just started to talk about the Hall of Fame balloting real fast because yesterday we were talking about Curt Schilling, we were talking about Barry Bonds, we were talking about Roger Clemens. And we would just mention it because it's normally the time when people do the Hall of Fame voting. But for the 9th year in a row, all three of them did not make the Hall of Fame. And the big thing is I'm going to throw it out there to you, Talent, and say Curt Schilling even asked, because of all the stuff that's going on and he getting tired of not being in, he said, can you please remove my name from the balloting? I don't want to be considered for a Hall of Fame ballot. So when you hear that, what's your thought process of Curt Schilling trying to take his name out, Talent? What's your thought process?
I like that. I like that. And that's something that I would do after a certain amount of back and forth and, you on the ballot, you ain't making it, this, that. Who want to keep going through that? Like that's got to be nerve-wracking and playing with people's emotions. So after a couple of them, I would do that. I would do the same thing. I like that he did that because that gives him a peace of mind. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'd rather go on with our life than every time it comes around, hey, you on the ballot again? Word? Yeah, that, what's my girl's name? That's Susan Lucci.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. That is
from All My Children. Remember Susan Lucci?
Yeah.
They did that to her every year for like 25 years.
Well, Curt Schilling had 75%. He had 71%. You need 75% to get in. He only got 71.4% of the votes. He obviously didn't get in. So, Fig, I'm gonna say to you, how are you feeling with that when you hear that same thing?
Man, two things. The people that are voting, whether you get in, I'm sure that their past is not stellar. I'm sure they have skeletons in their closet. You know what I mean? Things that they did that makes them less desirable for some kind of award or achievement and stuff like that. So why do you get to vote and why do you get to keep people out based on this high standard that baseball is supposed to have? And if you have any blemishes on your record, then you can't be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. But the people who are voting, what's your record like? I mean, what do you have in your past? And to keep putting a guy like Curt Schilling or these other players up on the ballot over and over and over again. It's like I'm gonna pull a page out of Talent's book. It's like going over to a woman's house and she take off all her clothes and say, "Come in this bedroom." When you go in the bedroom, she say, "All right, now go home." Mm-hmm. Like, come on, man.
You know what?
Like, what kind of game is this you playing?
That's a great analogy, but you know what I even think? I would even raise that and say this. I don't even think sports writers should vote on any type of person getting in any Hall of Fame at all. I think all ex-players should be the only ones to be able to vote on who gets in any sport, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, hockey, whatever it is. I don't think sports writers should get a say-so in that. I think it all should go for ex-players. I think the Players Association for all the leagues should be the ones, football, basketball. I think they should be the ones to say, you know what, because they know better than anybody, because they getting hit and they get hit and they play the game and they have played the game. Regardless how you shape it out. I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, Talon, could you agree or disagree with that? Like, do you think the sports writers should get a vote in this? Because I'm sure if I'm a baseball player right now and I'm looking at the sports writers didn't vote me in and I'm Kurt Schilling, I'm sure I'm pretty hot right now. I mean, that's just.
Well, I think this is what I think. I think that's a good way to start those people. You can start this type of thing with the sports writers. But I think as the decades go on, Frank, to be honest with you, that committee and those people who make those decisions should be made up of other Hall of Famers.
Yeah, good point. That's my point. Other Hall of Fame players.
I'm with Fig. Like, this guy that's keeping me out of the Hall of Fame, what'd you do with your life?
Right.
I done worked hard for 20 years in the leagues, and I done did this, that, the other. I'm a baseball great. I got all these numbers and stats. And this guy who was a supervisor at Walmart tell me I can't get in.
Not only that, it gets worse, Fig. It gets worse. Kurt Schilling won two Super Bowl. He won 2 World Series for 2 different teams, and one of the teams was the Red Sox win that thing when they were down 3-0. I mean, that itself set baseball history. He is if you don't get better than that. I mean, I just don't see how he didn't get it, and now he's on his 9th trip. I don't understand that.
It doesn't make sense. These guys that enjoy the game. I mean, the fans that enjoy the game so much, and these players that you're locking out of the Hall of Fame, they're the ones who made the game exciting and brought a lot of joy, to the fans that watch. And then you got these sports writers who sometimes let you out because you didn't give them an interview, or you walked out of a locker room and you didn't talk to them when they wanted to talk to you, and they're holding grudges and personal feelings and stuff like that. I'm like, it's absolutely ridiculous. And like Alan said, like, what did you do with your life? Like, really, you know what I mean? You drinking, smoking, maybe doing drugs or whatever, and now all of a sudden you have these high standards of why a guy should get into the Hall of Fame, and you keeping them out because you have a personal vendetta against these people, and it's just ridiculous. It really invalidates the Hall of Fame for baseball, because you keeping these great players out with great numbers and great stats, and that's the stuff that you're not even taking into consideration.
Hold on. Here's the kicker: is he was mean to me, so I don't want to vote him. And they're telling each other, to the people in this circle, he was mean to me, so he's not going. I'm not voting for him. Okay, all right. Yeah. All right. Anyway, let's move the conversation along. And something came up to me, I heard this morning on Sports Talk Radio, because you guys know I listen to it, and then I listen to ESPN and all that other stuff. I want to throw it out there first to you, Talent, and I'm gonna throw the ball to you. I'm gonna pass the rock to you. The conversation I heard this morning was very interesting. The conversation I heard was that the NFL players are now starting to have just as much leeway as the NBA players, and when strength and say so of where to go, where they can't go, and everything else like that. And the playing field for both is almost as equal. Meaning, case in point, Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson, and now maybe a couple of other NFL quarterbacks are about to call their shots where they want to go, and then demand they be traded. You know what I mean? Versus, we just saw the situation happen with James Harden. James Harden literally put the Houston Rockets over the barrel. It was like, y'all only got a few more minutes. The season just started, but I need to be out. I need to be out. Right. You know what I mean? And it looks like the NFL players are starting to command the same type of thing. So my question to you is basically the same thing. Do you think the NFL players and the NBA players are about to be on the same level playing field about being able to call the shots of where they want to go?
I think they better. I think that what's happening now is because of the climate. Again, everything is about the climate, and we got society by the ankles. If you're a person of color, You have the society by the ankles right now. You know what I mean? And you grab onto it. You got to use your power. All they're doing is exercising the power that they had. It's almost like they didn't know they had it the whole time. But now with the climate shining a high beam on the situation, now the teams and the owners can't do the backlash like they used to, or the blackballing and stuff like that without reason for that type of landscape to happen. So they're exercising something they had all along, but they didn't know how to use it. It took for the NBA. Let's be honest here. The NBA led sports when this climate changed. It led sports into demanding, not just individual players, but collectively. When they walked off the court and said, "We're not going to play because so and so got gunned down," or we need justice. That was like a bullhorn across all sports.
Yeah,
definitely. And now you're going to see players use their weight and and their leverage to play and be happy where they want to, which it should be like that. I mean, granted, these drafts, you're forced to go to somebody at first. But once that obligation's done, if you don't like that situation, now you have your pick of the litter. Where do you want to play? Where do you want to live? Where do you want to raise a family? So they're following the NBA, but both players are doing what the power that they already had, but was probably too afraid, or the people who represented them never let them exercise.
Okay, all right. Fig, your thoughts?
I'm not quite sure if it's equal yet. I think the NFL is coming along, but the NBA, those players are actually shareholders, and they share, I guess, if you will, a part of the league. I think it's like 49-51. I think maybe the owners have 51% and the players have 49% of the NBA. And, in the NFL, there's so many moving parts, like players, like the average player in the NFL plays maybe 2 to 3 years, maybe, unless you're a star. So I think they're coming along. And then last but not least, I think that the backlash from what they did to Colin Kaepernick is starting to come back around. Like initially, it seemed like the NFL had all the power, but the backlash after the fact that what Colin Kaepernick was protesting, and then you see what is happening in the United States with is it George Floyd getting murdered, and then that unrest all over the country and a matter of fact all over the world. The way that backlash has hit, I think it gave the NFL players just a little more power because they realized that Colin Kaepernick was ahead of this, and he was right.
I just want to just correct you on one thing. The NBA players, they split the ad revenue that comes in. They don't have ownership in the teams. They split the ad revenue, and the ad revenue is coming up to equal amount. That's what the big thing was. The big thing was when they had that walkout that they had a couple of years ago, when they were doing that. But I'm gonna throw this out there to you, and I'm gonna ask you this challenge and say, if Aaron Rodgers moves forward right now and forces a trade out of Green Bay, which looks like, because he's saying one thing on the air, you know what I mean? He's saying, and he's real casually and nonchalant. He's saying one thing on the air. Do you think if he does force his way out of Green Bay, that then he could, they basically will flip-flop, and then the NFL will start to realize, because what you said is spot on. Like the NFL players, they don't realize that they are in the biggest franchise of the world. Like the NFL is the leading sport of the world. If Aaron Rodgers uses the NBA is not. NBA is second. But if he uses his power and he flips it, does the power flip now from the NBA to the NFL? You know what I mean? Like, because he can.
I don't think so.
Even though he's under contract for 2 more years.
Right, but the reason I don't think so is, first of all, it's a lot more moving pieces. Mm-hmm. So I say that to say, like, I read an article today that was like, one of the big banking firms had fined the CEO. They cut his salary by $10 million. Everybody's like, "Ooh, yeah," until you see that he makes $100 million. Then it's like, you know what I mean? So I say that because numbers are relevant. I say that because I think the NBA stands out with what they're doing when we talk about this type of situation because there's so few players. I think when you go to the NFL and you have all of these players, everything's so much more. When you look at the sideline of a football game, it's great. Like, who are these people? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got 50 more people doing things. I don't even know what they're doing.
Mhm.
I just go with it. I don't think any of us know everybody. Oh, that's the vice president assistant Gatorade bringer. I don't think any of us know. You know what I mean? They're just there. So it's so many moving parts that even, and I agree with you, Frank. I think he's gonna do it. But two things. One, I hate to say it, he's white.
Mhm.
Not gonna make the same splash. Two, it's so many moving parts. It's just gonna be another guy that went to play where he wanted to. You forgot that we watched Brett Favre do it twice. We watched Peyton Manning do it. We can go down the history line and find guys that we've seen do it, like kind of leave or force their way out or throw a hissy fit, so to speak. But here's my thing: in the big picture, at the end of the day, I think everybody wants everybody to get along or get out.
Yeah,
because if you're an owner or a coach, you don't want to coach or own a guy on the team that don't want to be there.
Yeah. So, Fig, you agree with what he's saying? Do you think that color has something to do with it too?
Absolutely. Look, I always say, my position is always the way that they treat the black quarterback is never the same as they treat the white quarterback. Like the black quarterback doesn't seem to get as many opportunities, and it also spills over into coaching positions. Like, we don't have that many black coaches in the NFL. I mean, it needs to change, but like we both said, there's a lot of moving parts on each NFL team. And in order for the players to have more power, they need to get together. They need to galvanize. And it's hard to get that many people on the same page when it comes to those collective, those collective bargaining agreements to have everybody on the same page. Because, the owners thought, well, you can have this, but you can't have that. And when you start to, when you bring money into play, and you have the newer players come in, they don't make much money. So if you're giving newer players more money, even because they play for a less amount of time, then the newer players will probably go with that as opposed to more power. Okay, so it's kind of difficult when you do it, with the NFL, because we have those newer players, they don't play for that long. Like if it was just up to the quarterbacks, then you could probably get a lot of power in NFL because quarterbacks play a long time.
I will just say this for the record. There isn't a black quarterback who has Aaron Rodgers' numbers, so we can't really compare a black quarterback to a white quarterback. So I can't necessarily agree that it's a black-white thing. I understand that black quarterbacks and black people in management, we all know they get treated differently. That's not even a hidden thing. But until we get the best comparison would be is if we get a black quarterback like Patrick Mahomes does this, you know what I mean? And then we can say, oh, okay. Then and the talk NBA, and the sports talk is different. Then we can be like, you know what? You're absolutely right, because look how they treat Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick.
Can I give you a small example?
Go ahead.
Tim Tebow, before we talked about Colin Kaepernick, he took a knee, and I forgot what his platform was, but he took a knee. You know what I mean? Before the national anthem on the field, nobody said a word. Colin Kaepernick, a few years later, he takes a knee and he's protesting police brutality, and they blackballed him.
Yeah, but
that's what I mean. And we know that Tim Tebow was nowhere as good as Kaepernick.
No, I agree with that. Everything you just said is right, but it was just two different stands. Like Tim Tebow said what he was taking a knee for, and everybody was like, okay, that's no big deal. Colin Kaepernick said what he was taking a knee for, and everybody was up in arms because, you can't take a knee. You can take a knee for prayer, but you can't take a knee for police brutality against black people. You just can't do that. Nobody cared when Tim Tebow did. I don't even think it was even. Matter of fact, I don't even think it was a news line item on any sports show when he took a knee. I don't even think nobody cared. And yeah, you get my point. I don't think nobody even cared. But as soon as you take a knee for police brutality, and let's be honest, he was 3 years ahead of time. Anyway, let's switch the conversation. I want to talk about some of these NBA trade talks that's going on, because I've seen a lot that's happened in the last 24 hours. And the biggest thing that jumped off the table to me was that a couple of people reported that Kevin Love and JaVale McGee are possibly going to be headed to Brooklyn, and they're trying to work out the deal right now. Now, I'm going to say to you, Talent, I don't think Brooklyn Nets need JaVale McGee or Kevin Love right now to round out the team that they have right now. They literally could win the NBA championship with the team they have now. It's obvious to me that they're trying to bring in JaVale McGee and Kevin Love to have some people to come up off the bench, so you can't stop Brooklyn at all. But I think it's too much. It's too much. I think it's too much. What's your thoughts when you hear that they possibly go there?
Tell a woman she got too many shoes. That's what it sounds like right there, Frank. You can't tell these dudes it's too much. Like, here's my thing. I think I said this years ago when Golden State was winning championships. They was not just winning because you had Steph Curry, you had Klay Thompson, you had Draymond Green. They was winning because of everything else. They stayed stacked and deep.
Yeah, their bench.
Stacked and deep. That became the new recipe and the new winning formula. This is why even LeBron changed from just a big three to going shopping. Remember I said that back when LA started putting it together before they won the chip? I'm like, they're going shopping, and that's the new formula and recipe for winning an NBA. There's no such thing as too much. You guys are two married men. Your homework is when this show's over to go in the room and tell her she got too many shoes.
You trying to get me into an argument.
You got you in this argument, not me. Listen, I don't think it's a such thing as too much. I think in this case that they're covering all bases. Here's what people don't look at. Here's what depth brings you and what it alleviates. Everybody, the obvious we see. When you stack a team, we all go, they got these guys come off the bench. They deep, they got a bench. People forget what that means. What that actually means is not just that I got these guys come off the bench. That means I get to play my superstars that many minutes less. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Remember how we always talk about some coaches try to do, play that little play this day, don't play that day, sit this one out, time management. This is automatic time management without calling it time management.
Okay. All right. Fig, what's your thoughts?
I think he's absolutely right. I think I'm not sure if the big player is Kevin Love, although he's a really, he's a good player. I wouldn't say great right now at this time in his career, but I think they're really looking for JaVale McGee because when they traded Allen, he had to be a piece to go away in that trade for James Harden. Now they don't have a rim protector. And now, look, they're having a lot of shootouts. Brooklyn Nets with whoever they play, it's like we have to try and outscore you because we're not really stopping anybody. And we know if you put JaVale McGee in there, you're not going to the rim on JaVale McGee. He is a threat to clog up that paint and block any shots or at least change the shot that you're taking. So he is definitely one of probably the best rim protectors out there today. And I'm assuming that's probably why they're going for JaVale McGee. And like Talent said, the bench is going to win you a championship because the starters don't play the whole game. You know what I mean? And when the starters sit down, you need somebody to fill in for that time and to give, at least not lose your lead if you have one.
In other NBA trade talks, this is a fact. I'm about to tell you guys. This is a fact. The Pelicans, the New Orleans Pelicans, are now shopping Lonzo Ball and JJ Redick. They're shopping them to anybody who wants to be able to give up a first-round draft pick and a player or two. Now, I'm not sure if I'd be excited about Lonzo Ball or JJ Redick, but I guess it depends on the team. So I'm going to ask you, Talent, how exciting is it to hear the news that Lonzo Ball and JJ Redick is being shopped from the Pelicans when you hear that?
Well, I don't know how happy people about the Ball kid, but I would be happy about Redick. Redick is, every team at some point goes shopping for a sniper. Mm-hmm. He's in a sniper group. So almost every team in the league can use him, especially the ones who are on the brink of winning or have a chance, the highest probability of winning the chip. They can use a Redick. Ball is more of a type of player that certain people are going to be excited about because they need that piece. But he's one of those guys you need that piece. Whereas Redick is everybody needs a sniper. Mm-hmm. So unless you're sitting pretty, unless you got the Splash Brothers, you're going to be in the market for Redick. So Redick, that gets me a little eyebrows up and excited, like, whoa, who going to snatch the sniper? Lonzo Ball, not so much. He's okay, but you really have to be missing that piece to get Lonzo Ball.
Yeah, well, I think if you drop those two dudes on Milwaukee, and depending on what they give up, it changes Milwaukee's outlook too. I mean, it depends on who. You're right. It depends on the team. What's your thoughts, Fig?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts, Fig?
I was trying to, when you said that, I was trying to think like who needs. those kind of players, or who would benefit from them. And I'm just not sure. Maybe you could get them on, a team like in Carolina. You know what I mean? Maybe have the two Balls brothers playing together on the same team. Lonzo and LaMelo Ball on the same team, and then JJ Redick. But it really depends on who you got to give up for them. I felt it coming as soon as I was about to say it, but it's my opinion that you would have the Ball brothers on the same team.
First of all, bro, you using it. You cheating. You can't say pause because you know something about to happen. You gotta let that happen, then correct yourself.
Yeah, he cheating. He totally cheated.
He said, "Ball, two balls."
He's cheating. Let me ask you all about this one. The Knicks and the Clippers are right now on the Derrick Rose sweepstakes. You know what I mean? And that's the last thing we're going to talk about, the NBA trade talk right now. So I'm going to throw it out there real quick before we continue on moving on the conversation. Does Derrick Rose excite you if you're the Knicks or the Clippers? I think it excites you if you're the Clippers more so than the Knicks.
I was going to say that. I think if you're the Clippers, this is super exciting. Derrick Rose on the Clippers.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. We have this slogan in New York, once a Knick, always a Knick.
Right.
And it wouldn't be a bad thing coming back home. But with a young team like that, I think he fits a lot less great than he do for the Clippers. That team in the Knicks right now is dumb young.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't take some old certified Toyota used car needs. And when you get one of those nice old new cars from Toyota, what they call it is certified.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they call it hoopty.
Certified pre-owned.
Yeah.
You can't come in New York. You can't come back right now. Now is not the time to come back to New York with like certified pre-owned needs. But for the Clippers, who can use you in those 15, 20-minute spurts, that's different.
Okay. Vic, what's your thought? Does it excite you?
Because I'm a big-time Knicks fan, Knicks for life, man, I like Rose and stuff like that, but for the team that we have, I don't see what he could add to what we have because like you said, we're not contending for anything. The Knicks have I think our team is probably the youngest team in the league. Our average player is probably 23 years old, and then we have quite a few players that's a lot younger than that. I'd like to see him. I think he could add something to the Clippers because he won't be asked to do as much. You know what I mean? And let's face it, Rose is not a baby. He's not young. I think he still has a lot left in the tank, but he's not carrying a team, not at his age. So I think he would be a better fit for the Clippers. And then who you got to give up for him?
Right.
That'll be big within itself.
Let's continue on with the conversation. I looked it up this morning, and because they were having a conversation about MVP, who's the early MVP candidates right now for the NBA. And believe it or not, statistically speaking, in all games played, Joel Embiid would be leading in MVP voting right now, statistically speaking, because of the way he's averaging his points, averaging time, and scoring, defense, everything else. Statistically speaking, he should be leading the MVP votes. And the second person will shock you. The second person in the league right now is Jaylen Brown, statistically speaking. And the third person is LeBron James. So when you hear those names right now, especially that Joel Embiid, statistically speaking, is leading and would lead the MVP voting. What's your thought when you hear that, talent? Joel Embiid.
Well, I think it's close to accurate. The only argument I would have is I would put Brown ahead of him, to be honest with you. But I see it. I'm watching the numbers every night, game in and game out. But this is classic Embiid. This is not impressing me. What impresses me, like I said it before, I say it again. Half a season in the second half or the third, the fourth, like last stretch of 20 games, are we going to see the same Embiid?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He always starts like this. He always starts with this really hopeful thing and that energy and that rah-rah and talking smack and everything. But his problem, and I tell this to people all the time, Joel Embiid's problem is and you don't really hear this in grown men a lot, he's a sore loser.
Yeah.
And that mentally gets in his head. So as far as the team goes collectively as a whole, how his mental goes. If they go on one of those stretches of losing, watch it all change.
Well, talent, I'll just say this for the record. I think a lot of it has to do right now with Doc Rivers as the head coach, with the play call and everything else. I think that has a lot to do with it right now. What's your thoughts?
You know, Joel Embiid is not a marathon runner. He's a sprinter. You know, so he like Tom said, he comes out the gate strong, but we need you to endure to the end. You know what I mean? See how you do towards the end of the season, and that will be I really say that the 76ers will go as far as Joel Embiid will be able to take them. If he is still strong and playing like he's playing now towards the end of the season, I think they have a strong chance. And you know, one of the signs will be tonight, because I think he plays tonight, and I think the 76ers go up against the Lakers tonight, and I think that's going to be a big game, and I think that'll be a nice factor, since him and LeBron are in talks for possible early talks for the MVP.
Well, until that last statement, I was about to say that neither one of you all was shocked that LeBron James is not, you know, in the early candidate for MVP. Neither one of you mentioned it until Fig just said that, because let's be honest, the Lakers are the best team in the league. The Lakers are on a 10-game or 11-game road winning streak and everything else. Now, if I had to cast my vote, I literally have to say, what, LeBron's 37 years old, 36 years old, whatever. He's in his late 30s. I'd be like, listen, for what he's doing right now, he's putting up an MVP caliber season right now. Whether you like LeBron or not, you got to at least say, wow. I mean, I know everybody likes to do it statistically speaking. That's my biggest thing is sometimes, you know, remember, Talent, we had this conversation about stats and everything. I hate this about stats, because I thought years ago when Jordan was winning and when he was losing, he should have got a couple more MVPs, but he never won nothing. So everybody was, you know, he ain't win nothing, so he wasn't getting the MVP. You know what I mean? And I hated that. But statistically speaking, I don't know. I'm just thinking that to be in his age right now, he got to at least be in the conversation. That's my thought. But Talent, you look disgusted. So what did I say wrong?
Because I'm tired of this LeBron. No.
Talent, you are not amazed at what LeBron James is doing in the NBA with all these young dudes, 21 years old, 20 years on a team that's leading them. He's leading them statistically in points. He's leading them in time played, damn near scoring. He kept coming on, I don't know how many NBA championships this brother got, and getting ready to take the Lakers to another, at least to the trip in the conversation. You're not impressed with LeBron?
What does MVP stand for?
Most valuable player for the team.
On that team, it is AD. Stop it. So, all the brother's been doing, see, this is, and I argued with some dude on Twitter yesterday, because he was one of those dudes that was making up all these stats, and I couldn't take it no more. I had to go in his inbox and go, stop the shit. He don't even know me. God don't even know me. I know he in my box. I didn't even check my joint. I know he in there cursing me out. But I got tired of it popping in my feed with these random ass, weird ass stats. What did he say? It was an age thing. Same thing. He was this guy was 32 when he did this. This guy was 31. This guy, LeBron's. I said, yo, dude. When I was a porn star, I never threw my stats in nobody's face. I never called Ron Jeremy and said, hey, Ron, I did this better than you. I lasted longer than you. I didn't do it. I didn't call Mr. Marcus and said, look at my Timberlands.
Hold on.
No, hold on, Tom. Look at my socks. I got my tube socks are longer than yours.
Right. So all this dude is doing, and don't get me wrong, if you want me to be impressed, I'm impressed with him playing the game at a high level. And I am. Absolutely. May he play 10 more years. I love it. But when we talk about the MVP conversation, you can't, you know how I just said to Fig, stop cheating? Fig said pause before he said the thing that causes the pause, which is cheating. It's cheating the sheet. LeBron is cheating the sheet. It's like he went from being that top MVP player to now I'm going to set things around me where I give myself the opportunity to coast a little bit. They don't rely on me now. I got these other powerful players, AD being the most valuable in that team, that I can play off of the most the most valuable player. I play off of it, and I stack these numbers and pad these things. You're not the most valuable player, man.
Okay,
Go ahead,
you know, I'm gonna add to that. The thing is that truth be told, we sort of seen this before. We've seen Kareem play, you know, longevity into a late age, and was still extremely dominant, and they were still winning championships. And Michael Jordan, I mean, we talk. I'm only talking about the Chicago years. He played till he was 35 in Chicago, and when he was 35, he won that championship at 35, and he was clearly the best player on his team. Then you fast forward to Michael Jordan playing when he was like somewhere between 38 and 40 years old when he played on Washington. He averaged 20 points a game at almost 40 years old. So we've sort of seen this before. And last but not least, I want to see, since the Lakers, I'm going to go with the Lakers, since they're the NBA champions, I'd like to see what the Lakers do when they play against the teams that are supposed to beat them or that has a chance to beat them. I want to see what the Lakers do when they play the Clippers. I want to see what the Lakers do when they play Philadelphia, and I definitely want to see what they do when they play Brooklyn. Yeah, that's where you get an opportunity to see where they are at this stage. I mean, but you beat up on Cleveland.
But Fig, that's a little off topic. We're not talking about teams right now. I'm talking about the players as where they're doing right now for the team. For the team.
Reason I'm saying it, all right, but the reason I'm saying it is that we're basing it off of stats. Like,
are we basing it off stats? That's what I'm asking you.
I'm saying LeBron James is really playing great right now. But I'm seeing him play great against the Clevelands, against the teams that are not going to the playoffs. I want to see if he can have the same numbers and the same impact against the teams that pose a challenge. That's all I'm saying.
All right, well, let me bring in Rodney Perry, because Rodney Perry, he's going to agree or he's going to disagree, because he got his segment called I Disagree. So, Rodney, I know we talk about LeBron again, but
you guys are so consistent, man. You guys are so consistent. You know, I tell my children, say, you know, people are terribly consistent. That's true if we're talking about the Baseball Hall of Fame. That's true if we're talking about the NFL. That's true if we're talking about Kevin Love or JaVale McGee. So let's get going. Kurt Schilling and some of these guys going up for the Hall of Fame. I applaud Kurt Schilling with telling the Major League Baseball to kiss his ass.
Basically.
But the irony is that's the reason he's not in. They had this rule that they asked the people that have to make the votes. You have to consider integrity, sportsmanship, and character. That in itself is keeping Kurt Schilling out. He was that dude, you know, that lacked those things, and because of that, he's out. The problem with baseball is baseball. Baseball got all these unwritten rules, all these little you know, baseball still relying on rules when there was no black people there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And so that in itself is a problem with baseball. So baseball is never going to change until like everybody that's connected to the old baseball will have to die. You know, it's a lot of people that should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm still a Johnny Bench fan. Johnny Bench should be in the Hall of Fame. He's never going in the Hall of Fame because he gambled. They will never forgive him. That baseball does not forgive or forget.
That's not Johnny Bench. That's the other guy. That's not Johnny Bench. Go ahead.
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose. That's Pete Rose.
Pete Rose. My bad. I'm not Johnny Bench. Pete Rose.
Yeah.
Johnny Hustle. Johnny Hustle. They call him Pete. Yeah. My bad.
Yeah.
Y'all talked about people like Aaron Rodgers and will the NFL players ever had a power of the NBA? No. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because the NFL would never relinquish true power. Like the NBA has given these guys, these men that play that sport, true power. The football players will never have power because the owners don't relinquish it. Like everybody talk about collective bargaining, but collective bargaining is a sham. The fact that that you're negotiating with people that don't have no reason to give you what you want. They never acquiesce. The owners never give up nothing. Oh, well, the players agreed that they're gonna let the air conditioning stay on a little longer. What the hell? They give all these shallow things to the Players Association because they don't have any power, and they never gonna get power because they looked at it as expendable. The average football player plays 4 seasons. He don't even stay in the league long enough to get vested in a pension. And who put that in place? Oh, the owner. They don't give a shit, and they never will. Kevin Love and JaVale McGee may end up in on the Nets. So freaking what? JaVale McGee might be the goofiest player in the NBA. Goofy. The man averaged a half a point a game. His mother is better. If I had his mother, if I had a chance to pick up his mom's, I would get his mom's first.
Pause.
I'm not pausing. Kevin Love, he had a good run. But as far as I'm concerned, Kevin Love and JaVale McGee are LeBron's sloppy seconds. That's right.
Oh.
And to make my own personal porn analogy, so I'm shooting a porn, right? LeBron shot a movie earlier that day. I get to pick the same 2 girls that LeBron ran through. It's a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
The prospects of the Ball brothers getting together is impressive. I think if you get them balls together, there's no stopping what these guys can achieve. Get those balls together. And they'll ejaculate. The balls will ejaculate the team to the playoffs.
No.
Yes.
I can't.
You put the balls together, talent. Put those balls together and watch them erupt. An explosion of great plays.
Oh, man.
Derrick Rose.
Oh, God.
Somebody said he may go to the Clippers, he may go to the Knicks. Let me say something.
Oh, God.
The Knicks have a history of picking up a player when it's too late.
Yes, sir.
True.
Knicks I'm not making this up. We can look at the history of it. This is perfect for the Knicks. The Knicks he's a walk away. Ooh, you think Derrick Rose just needs for 2 more games? We'll pay him. We have found out the MVP in the NFL, in the NBA, is fool's gold. Every year, and LeBron is getting sick of it.
Mm-hmm.
Every year, somebody get the MVP, and they ain't nowhere near winning the chip. This year, it looks like it's going to be Embiid. I like Embiid. Embiid is a great player. He is no LeBron James. But my esteemed colleagues will go out of their way, as I said yesterday. I like guys that win. Okay, well, what about LeBron James? Yeah, he win, but he win all the time. So now it matters who he beat. So let me get it straight. So LeBron James didn't beat the Clippers because the Clippers wasn't there. What was the Clippers? Somebody had put the Clippers up. The Clippers is in the draw.
Oh, God.
And we're still talking about it months later. Oh, well, I can't believe that he can beat up on the Cavs. Guess what the Cavs did? Show up. The Cavs was there.
Oh God.
We still waiting on the Clippers have disbanded. The Clippers is in another city. And we still talking about the Clippers. The Clippers, for God's sake. I broke my Clippers for real. Sir, y'all go out of y'all way to talk about this guy. This guy is great. He's not Michael Jordan. I can see that. He's not Michael Jordan, but he is the greatest player of this generation. There is nobody better. I say that to the top of the mountaintop. There is nobody better currently playing basketball. You have to get this guy his flowers. Every day, talent, you too, especially you, talent, especially you.
Talent, he mad at you, bro.
Gotta talk about all these stats. He has every stat. He got so many stats. They gotta make up new stats.
Oh God, damn!
Like the dude literally has every. So yes. Wait a minute. Then Fig go. Well, Michael Jordan did play until he went to the Bullets for a couple of days, and he was 30.
Couple of days.
Are you serious, Fig? Are you serious? I'm over here pulling my hair out, and then you know what I'm noticing? I know what you're trying to do. Y'all go further into the show, so I don't have enough time to say all this stuff. Y'all used to come to me at 34. Now y'all come to me at 38, 39. You think I don't see what's going on, Frank Holder?
That's not true.
I don't see what's going on?
That's not true.
And you know what? It stinks. It stinks to high heaven. It stinks.
That's not true.
The way y'all treat this man is great.
I brought him up.
Guess what? Guess who's
I
going to
brought him
win
up in the MVP conversation.
It's a travesty. It's a travesty that you guys every day y'all find a way to besmirch the name of the great LeBron James.
Because he should be in jail.
You shut your butthole. If LeBron was in jail, he would be the best jailbird of all time.
I'm surprised you, Rodney Perry. You didn't mention one time talent mentioning about being a porn star. Say when he said this analogy about being a porn star. You didn't say that one time.
I was busy. I heard talent's analogy. And that was the one bright spot of his cavalcade of
when I was a porn star.
And for the record, porn stars do gauge stats.
Oh God!
Only on this show where we had
Mr. Marcus was my friend.
And sports.
Mr. Marcus was my friend, and you would never see this, but he would try to see how far he could get from whoever the person that he was trying to shoot, and he would just see how far he can get it to go.
That's too much information.
That's a fact. Rick, you brought it up. I was leaving this subject.
There's too much information on this sports family show.
As I was saying,
Crazy.
if we can get those balls together, man, get those balls together, and you can explode into the stratosphere of the NBA.
Rodney, you too much.
Put those balls together. I like that, Fig. You're right. Let's get those balls together, man. Let's ejaculate and take it to another level.
Oh man, let me tell you something. Oh God.
All right, I got to keep the show rolling on. Rodney, you gonna stay with us? All right, I'll let you think about it. All right, let me ask you all this question. Did drafting Jordan Love ignite Aaron Rodgers to get the MVP season that he did? And is he on a mission? Like, did he have a plan? Did he plan everything he's doing the entire way out? You know what I mean? From the beginning, the minute they drafted Jordan Love. I'm gonna start with you, Talent, because I think it's a
I think he's a very methodic quarterback. That's if we learn anything about him over the years, is a method to his madness always. I think we know if you're a superstar quarterback, and your team goes and you get a draft pick and you use it on the quarterback, you send an inadvertent message. And I think he got that message loud and clear, because I've seen, if you look at the end of that last game, over the years, Aaron Rodgers would be bitching and yelling up and down the field of trying to do what he wants to do or he thinks the team should do in that moment. He didn't do that. He just got off the field. They called what they called. They're going for the field goal. He went off. He was calm on the side. Even when it didn't work and the game was over, you could see how he was still in that headspace when he went to. I don't know if you kept the TV on. I always wait till the quarterbacks greet each other in the end. The winning quarterback and the losing quarterback make that connection. And if you look at his face, he came and gave him his dap, but he never really was in that moment with him. He was still in that methodic thinking space that he already created for himself.
See, I think it was completely calculated from the minute they drafted Jordan Love. That's what I think. Rodney Perry, what you think?
Here goes. It's not Aaron Rodgers. It's the team. The team said we need to light a fire under Aaron Rodgers' ass. How do we do that? You know what? Let's go get the next quarterback that we're gonna use. Let's keep him, because we gotta reignite this guy. Right. And that's what they did. And they got a guy that was potentially a good QB, and they brought him in and to sit there. It's a win-win for the team. The team is getting the tutelage of Aaron Rodgers. At the same time, they're getting Aaron Rodgers going, what y'all doing? Why would y'all ever do? Why would y'all do that? And he played lights out this year. He lost, but he played lights out. Better than the Clippers.
I think whenever you draft somebody's replacement, then it does light a fire on them. And like we said earlier, I think they may have done better had you gotten somebody else, gotten Aaron Rodgers another weapon, whether it be another receiver or another running back or somebody else to help out Aaron Rodgers on the offensive end of the ball. I think quite possibly Green Bay would be going to the dance. You know what I mean? And that's the fact of the matter is, Aaron Rodgers is still got a lot of left in the tank, but maybe they would have done better if you would have gave him another weapon.
Yeah, I think so too. Anyway, y'all, that's the show. So the show was funny today. I like the show today because of the words that were used today on this family show was like, woo! I'm trying to tell you. I'm going to have a talk with all y'all after the show.
Yeah, we go all together, man.
Hey, hold on. Frank, you can't get on the words we use on the show. If you guys can come on here and promote LeBron James and the MVP conversation, as much cocaine as that man throw in the air before every game, all that cocaine in the air, and you worry about this being a family show?
You talk about porn stars and Rodney Perry talk about ejaculating. I'm like, whoa.
I was talking about my past.
I'm talking about basketball. If we get those balls to the basketball, they can explode into the future.
What I thought was more risque is when Talon said, tell your wife that she got too many pairs of shoes. Now, I thought that was way out of bounds, and that should not be on TV.
Yeah. We're going to have to blur that out next time on the repeat. Anyway, y'all, that's the show. Talent to everybody out there how they can follow you.
Hey, follow me, man. It's going down 6 o'clock on my live, my IG, Talent the Comedian. That's where you need to be.
By the way, Talent, you had a great show last night. That PTA show was hilarious, bro.
Thank you, brother. That's not bad, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like that show. That's pretty good. Rodney Perry, tell everybody out there they follow you.
RodneyPerry.com is the website. Rodney Perry Live, all social media. YouTube is building and growing. Thank you. Thank you to all the new followers. Appreciate y'all.
I appreciate your Fig.
Your boy Comedian Fig is right there. It's at Comedian Fig on all social media platforms. But if you can't find me there, Monday through Friday, baby, 1 to 2 p.m., I'm on the box seats right here on Human Mill TV. Get your Human Mill app on Facebook Live.
And since I don't got to repeat that, y'all know what to do. At 1 to 2 o'clock, we're on every day. Make sure you download the app. Make sure you tune in. We appreciate y'all. Tomorrow, we are going to continue on at 1 o'clock. The rest of the week, we're going to have a couple of guests and all that stuff. So until then, make sure you tune in. We see you all. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thanks for watching.